Welcome back to the Accessible Art History YouTube channel. Today, we have a special episode of Art History Minute. On this day in 1536, Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, was executed. So, to honor her memory, we are going to discuss one of the few surviving images of this disgraced queen. Our channel also has a video about all of the wives of Henry VIII, which is linked in the description box below. Anne Boleyn's exact birth date is unknown, but most scholars agree it is somewhere between 1501 and 1507. Her family lived in Kent at Hever Castle. As a young girl, she was sent to both the Netherlands and France to receive her formal education. In the mid-1520s, she returned home to enter into the service of Queen Catherine of Aragon. It was then she caught King Henry VIII's eye. But Anne was hesitant to be his mistress. Not only was he still married, but her sister had been his lover before he grew tired of her company. She told him that the only way they could be together was as husband and wife. But King Henry would not be stopped from getting what he wanted. So, after the Pope refused to grant him a divorce, he broke away from the Catholic Church and formed his own church, in which he was the head. He and Anne married in secret due to her pregnancy around January 1533. She was crowned queen on June 1, 1533, and only a few months later she would give birth to the future Elizabeth I, one of the greatest monarchs in history. Sadly, Anne would not be queen for long. By 1536 she had still failed to give the king his longed-for son and heir. Henry, not wanting another long drawn-out divorce, had her arrested on trumped-up charges of adultery, witchcraft, and incest. Anne was sentenced to death, and she was executed by sword on May 19, 1536, 484 years ago today. This portrait of Anne Boleyn is one of the most famous images of her. However, it was not painted in her lifetime. Instead, it was created during the reign of her only child, Elizabeth I. It is possible that this painting was based on others from an early period, but historians aren't 100% sure. This is because Henry VIII ordered the destruction of Anne's image after her execution. In this portrait, there are several details that show us the character of Anne. Firstly is the emphasis on her dark hair and eyes. In many contemporary accounts, these are reported as her best feature. They were different from the typical blonde hair, blue-eyed beauties that filled the English court. Next, we see her French hood. This was a new style that Anne had brought from her time on the continent, and it was considered the height of fashion. It was a bit scandalous because it showed off more hair than the gable-style hood, but it still preserved some of her modesty. Finally, we see her bee necklace. Over the centuries, this has become her symbol. The pearls are a sign of virtue and were adopted by her daughter as her own symbol. The bee reminds viewers of her family name, which is far more important than her first name. Anne Boleyn is one of the most fascinating figures in English history. Her beauty and wits convinced a king to make himself God's representative on earth. Although this portrait isn't contemporary to Anne's life, it is still able to tell us a lot about her.